We're expecting 20 million doses of authorized vaccines to be available starting in April for the April to June timeframe, and may see more if other vaccine candidates receive regulatory approval from Health Canada. So this is part of our continuous work with all stakeholders, the support planning and capacity building for the ramp-up phase that will start in earnest in the second quarter.
410 says Moderna shipments are still coming every 3 weeks as originally planned, and 2 other candidates, vaccine candidates that is, are still under review by Health Canada. The province will release new COVID-19 projections today. The new modeling comes 2 weeks after the government declared a state of emergency and imposed a stay-at-home order. A province-wide lockdown was declared on Boxing Day, but the Ford government said it wasn't working and had to take further action. The last projections suggested surging cases and hospitalizations were on the verge of overwhelming the healthcare system.
We were well on our way to over 5,000 cases, and certainly it's nothing to be too excited about being around the 2,000 mark, but by comparison, it's certainly a positive trend. I'm still worried about what the ICU capacity situation will be. We're well over where we should be to maintain things safely. So I urge everybody to remain vigilant and to remain patient as we see our way through this.
My message would be stay the course, but please understand that we're going to be doing the planning to make sure there's a staged, practical, thoughtful reopening plan in place so that the minute that the public health people tell us that it's appropriate to do so and not risk a third or fourth wave, that we'll do it.
The province says in-person learning will resume in 4 more public health units on Monday. Education Minister Stephen Lecce says 280,000 students in schools in the Eastern Ontario Health Unit, Middlesex London Health Unit, Southwestern Public Health, and Ottawa Public Health will return to school with added safety measures in place. Those measures include mandatory masks for grades 1 through 3, expanding access to targeted asymptomatic testing, and stricter screening protocols. Some teachers and experts are warning remote learning will lead to an even bigger performance gap. According to the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education, the evidence suggests that while online classes work well for some students, others could end up lagging far behind their peers for years to come. Students with learning disabilities or those without access to up-to-date technology and parental support face the biggest disadvantages. Students with books, technology, and plenty of supervision tend to get more practice and move ahead faster. An extreme cold weather alert is in effect for Toronto. So for more on how people are colding with some of the coldest temperatures of the season, let's bring in CP24's Beatrice Faisman. And Beatrice, when the weather gets like this, people really do need to be careful.
Yeah, and you need the layers, Courtney. The more, the better. If you've got long johns, you'll want to put those on under your pants. You need all the gear you can find in your closet this afternoon, Courtney. This is dangerous because we're reaching what feels like minus 20 degrees outside with wind chill. But despite these frigid conditions, there are still people out here at Port Union waterfront enjoying their afternoon walk. A lot of people telling me they felt like they just have to get outside no matter the conditions, just even for 10 minutes to take a walk, get that fresh air, stretch their legs. Many pointing to the fact that this has really become part of their daily routine to better their mental health in the midst of this pandemic. And same with parents with small children. I spoke to one family, the mom saying they come out each and every day during the lunch break from virtual learning. So this has really become an important part of people's lives, just feeling the need to get outside and get some physical activity, but also important to layer up and stay safe as well. Here's some reaction.
When you're walking, you stay warm, and it's not too windy out, so it's nice with the sun.
I bring my girls out every day at lunchtime, so it's a nice way to get them out, and they really enjoy going out at lunchtime.
Also, this pandemic, Courtney, poses new challenges for some of our city's most vulnerable people. We know there are 4 warming centers open across the city to help ensure that people who need it have a safe, warm place to go, not only to warm up, but also even have somewhere to use the washroom. That's obviously become a challenge for members of our homeless community. So the city says it has protocols in place to abide by public health guidelines to make sure that if people need to come to the warming centers, they can do it. You're going to be screened. You've got to wear a mask, and also make sure you're physically distant as well. But it's important to note they are open. If you need it, make sure you go and use it. Back to you.
Beatrice, thank you. Let's talk more about the weather story. We'll bring in Mika, who's standing by. Mika, how long are we expecting these cold temperatures to last for?
Oh, in the next few days for sure, Courtney. I mean, we really won't see a warm up until about Monday. So just a slight warm up on the weekend, but not by much, only by a couple of degrees today. Highs of only about -7. We're sitting at -9 right now, and it feels like -19 outside. So northwesterly winds will gust up to 45 kilometers an hour. -9 out at Pearson, -7 on the island. Wind speeds are anywhere from 37 to 39 kilometers an hour, feeling like -19 to -17 outside with the wind. So a very cold, bitterly cold day. The city of Toronto has issued an extreme cold weather alert. There are city centers with warming centers available here in the city and also in and around the regions in and around Toronto. Now let's check on traffic with Adjoit and Fiebla.
Well, Mika, yeah, it might be cold out, but if you are making your way out on the major roads, problems have cleared, so the drive at least is looking good. Eastbound on the 401 of the collectors on the approach to the Don Valley Parkway. We're dealing with this ongoing collision. Did have the 3 right lanes out. The problems there are cleared. Rest of the 401, good place to be right now. No problems to pass along. Looking pretty light and quiet. No issues on at the DVP, and also a good-looking drive on the Gardner. Just some steady traffic as you make your way into and out of downtown. Courtney, I'll send it back to you.
Adjoa, thank you.
Welcome.
The city's second modular supportive housing building opened today. The building on Dovercourt Road and a newly reopened on Macy Avenue provided a total of 100 new affordable supportive homes for people who are experiencing homelessness. The homes are staffed with services offered including connection to community supports, healthcare, employment services, and medication help. Mayor Tory announced the news at a news conference this morning.
We did the whole thing in months, not in years. Just last spring, a city council approved the modular housing initiative to build the first 250 modular homes on city-owned land. And this is moving fast because it needs to move fast, because the people that are in need us to move fast. Often these are people who are really struggling, who need housing now. The whole point of modular housing is that it can be built in months and not years.
The federal government pitched in about 40% of the cost for the housing project.
We still have far too many homeless here in Toronto and across our country. They do not have access to safe places to live. They do not have access to supports that they need to help them to gain the stability they need in order to live their lives fully.
The Modular Housing Initiative will see 250 new homes built in 2 phases at a cost of $47.5 million. It is 1:39 - 8. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24. Today marks a grim milestone in space exploration. 35 years ago today, 7 people died in the Challenger Space Shuttle disaster. We'll have more on this somber anniversary. That's next.